After dismissing Shreyas Iyer's ability to bat in test matches for India, I thought, it's time. And what time is it, you may ask? It's Sarfaraz time. It's not like you can miss him. In this video, we'll assess his stats, his technique, and see why he could be an all-conditions test match player for India. Firstly, let's briefly cover his background. Sarfaraz is somewhat of a child prodigy, with his dad coaching him to bat against all types of bowling on various surfaces from a young age. And this is perhaps why we see such a balanced technique. Furthermore, he broke Tendulkar's record as a 12-year-old, scoring 439 runs in a Harris Shield match. But there are plenty of videos around that, and I'll link those down in the comments. And whilst you're there, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, it'd really help me out and it would be much appreciated. So let's cover his stats. Some have said he's the second coming of Donald Bradman after averaging 92.66 in the 2022 Ranji Trophy season, alongside an overall average of a shade under 70 in first class matches, which isn't too bad if you ask me. Whilst he hasn't played many first class matches overseas, he recently made a 68 and a 34 against the South Africa A side, so this bodes well for him being able to score runs all over the world. More importantly, let's delve a bit into his technique. There are not too many clips to go off, but from my research he has a balanced game and I like what I see. Against pace, he has a slight crouch with a simple back and across movement, and from when I've watched him, he is well balanced at the crease, so he should be able to handle balls that come back in at him without falling over and getting bowled or LBW. When the ball is pitched up, he defends late or drives down the ground, and the only issue I really see is that he tends to throw his hands at anything wide, and against better bowlers on seaming tracks, he may have to temper this. Against the short ball, he is quite destructive, with his technique getting back and across. He gets inside the line of the ball and pulls, or if it's wider, he isn't afraid of the ramp. When watching him, he seems to have a lot of time to play the ball, perhaps without the elegance of Rohit Sharma, but this is nonetheless positive, and a hallmark of all players who make the jump from Ranji Trophy to test matches. Against spin, he bats in Mumbai on red soil and has a good record, so we can deduce his game against spin is overall quite good. I don't have much to go off in terms of stats versus spin and pace, but I do like the fact that he sweeps a lot, especially on pitches where there is a lot of turn and bounce, which India have produced recently. It's a good option to try and mess with the bowler's length, and this would be a nice compliment to other Indian batsmen who have been noted for their lack of sweeping. So what are the pros of having Sarfaraz Khan in the team? Firstly, he has a fantastic record and has done things the right way by scoring runs in first class cricket, and the selectors should really reward this behaviour. Secondly, he seems to have the building blocks for a successful technique, and I can see how this can thrive against all bowlers in all conditions. Lastly, he is very much a counter-attacking player which could benefit India at number 5 and would dovetail quite nicely with KL Rahul or Rishabh Pant. So what are the cons of having Sarfaraz Khan in the team? Firstly, there may be some teething problems outside off stump, but that is more of a mental adjustment than technical. Secondly, his fitness isn't that great, and I'm not saying he's Rakeem Cornwall, but he's no Virat Kohli either. And this may not actually affect his play, but it certainly can create a narrative that can be used unfairly against him if he gets a few low scores. Lastly, he hasn't had much experience outside Asia, and I felt he could have maybe got a short stint in county cricket to help prepare him for the rigours of test match cricket, but understandably given IPL and all the money involved, that is a difficult decision to make. But I can't help but feel he would have already been playing for India if he had scored some county runs. Overall, he's 26, he's in the prime of his career and could play for India for the next 10 years. He is someone who could become a real danger man in all conditions, much like Pant is now, and that's ultimately why I think he should be in this test side. So let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel.